Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're doing a deep dive into Financial Shield.
Right, the service you've probably seen ads for just about everywhere.
Exactly. It promises, comprehensive financial protection, identity monitoring, the whole package.
All the things that sound really good.
Yeah. And our mission here is simple. A neutral analysis. We want to slice through the marketing claims and see what's actually being delivered.
And before we jump in, we should make one thing very clear for you.
Oh, absolutely. This is educational commentary. We're looking at consumer transparency. This is not financial advice.
And that marketing is, it's masterful. They use these phrases that are crafted to hit you right where you're worried.
It's all about anxiety, isn't it?
Completely. You hear things like protect your finances or stop surprises before they happen.
And the big one, trusted tools for peace of mind.
That's it. That's the promise. And it's a powerful one in 2025. But, that's the big print we have to measure against the fine print.
Okay, so if that's the big promise, where do you as a consumer even begin to question the transparency? Where's the first sign to slow down?
Well, the very first thing is just basic corporate transparency.
What do you mean by that?
For any service that's handling your sensitive data, you should be able to find, crystal clear information. Who is the parent company? What's their regulatory status?
Right, the fundamentals.
Exactly. And with Financial Shield, that information is often vague, or it's buried under pages of what feels like sales copy, not real explanation.
So you can't easily figure out who is running the show.
Precisely. And not knowing who runs it or how your data is being managed, that's your single biggest cue to just pause.
But I have to ask, is total transparency realistic for a subscription service? Don't they need to keep some of their methods secret?
That's a fair point, but it's not really about proprietary code or their secret sauce. It's about fiduciary clarity. You should know which credit bureau's data they're using, or who the regulatory body is that oversees them. When that's missing, it feels less like protecting secrets and more like avoiding accountability.
So if the company info itself is kind of buried, the real test has to be the service itself. How effective is the protection people are paying for?
That's the core of it. What do users expect versus what's the reality?
And they expect a safeguard.
They expect proactive, clear, actionable alerts, something that lets them detect a problem early and actually resolve it.
But the reported experience we've seen suggests it falls, pretty short of that.
Very short.
The alerts are consistently described as vague and not always timely. So instead of getting a notification like a potential hard pull was detected on your Equifax report,
You get something like account activity detected.
which could be anything, it's not actionable.
Right. It makes the tool less of a safeguard and more of a noisy dashboard. And then there's the customer service.
Let me guess, slow and scripted.
You got it. It often fails to provide that quick resolution people assume they're paying for. The tools themselves just feel like basic dashboards you could probably get for free somewhere else.
So let's synthesize this. The service isn't an outright, scam. You do get an account, you get access to some features.
Yeah, you get something.
But calling it legit and effective, like the ads say,
Yeah.
feels like a major overstatement.
It is. It functions much closer to an overhyped financial subscription. It just capitalizes on a very reasonable desire for oversight.
So you end up paying a premium for pretty limited real value.
That's the bottom line. The effective cost of that vague alert system is actually quite high.
So for you, listening at home and evaluating these kinds of services, what are the key takeaways here?
I would say, number one, go in with extremely low expectations.
Are they?
Number two, verify what you actually get before you commit to paying. And really read the fine print on data usage and the cancellation policies.
Which can be intentionally tricky.
They often are. Treat a service like this as a very basic support tool, not a comprehensive financial safeguard. It lives right in that uncomfortable space between helpful and just a marketing hype.
That's a very clear way to put it. Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on as we wrap up. If these automated monitoring and alert systems are going to be the core of this industry, how might regulatory bodies adapt? How could they create standards to make sure that a service's alert system is actually, robust and effective in a measurable way? Something to think about.